What if I told you that one hotel in downtown Los Angeles has been home to serial killers, mysterious disappearances, and deaths so strange they still baffle investigators? Welcome to the Cecil Hotel, a building so infamous, it's earned the nickname the Hotel of Horrors. In this video, we're diving into 5 of the most chilling true stories to come out of its haunted halls. The elevator ride that became a viral mystery. The serial killer who slept just feet from unsuspecting guests. The window that became an exit for lost souls. The room where whispers never fade. And the cry of a forgotten child echoing beneath the floor. These aren't just ghost stories. They're echoes of real events, lingering in the shadows of a hotel that refuses to be forgotten. They say some videos haunt the internet forever. In February 2013, a 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. She never checked out. She had been traveling alone through California, documenting her trip on Tumblr, excited and poetic, though occasionally tinged with anxiety. She struggled with bipolar disorder but had been managing it well, according to her family. Her last known location was the Cecil Hotel. For days, guests on the upper floors began to complain. The water pressure was low. The water had a strange color and a taste. It wasn't until maintenance staff checked the rooftop water tanks that they found her body, floating, naked, alone. But it wasn't just her death that chilled the world. It was a video. Security footage from one of the hotel's elevators was released by the LAPD when Elisa was first reported missing. It went viral instantly. The footage showed Elisa stepping into the elevator, wearing a red hoodie and black shorts. She pressed multiple buttons at once. Then she waited. The door didn't close. She peeked out into the hallway. Quickly recoiling like something or someone was out there, she flattened herself against the elevator wall, hiding. Then she stepped out, waved her arms in strange, jerky motions, almost like she was arguing with someone invisible or swimming in slow motion. The elevator door remained open. For a full 2 minutes, Elisa wandered in and out of the frame until she finally walked away. Down the hall, the door closed a few seconds later. That was the last known sighting of her alive. The rooftop water tanks were not easily accessible. You needed to go through a locked door with an alarm. Only hotel staff had access. Yet, somehow, Elisa's body was inside one of them. When police arrived, they drained the tank and cut it open. There she was. No signs of trauma. No drugs, no alcohol, no signs of foul play. The coroner ruled it an accidental drowning, but the questions wouldn't stop. How did she get on the roof? Why was she naked? Why didn't the elevator door close? And most disturbingly, who or what was she hiding from? The internet erupted with theories. Some said she had a manic episode and her mind unraveled. Others believed she was being chased. Some pointed to the hotel's dark history, serial killers, suicides, hauntings. The Cecil wasn't just any hotel. It had been home to Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and had dozens of deaths on record. Others noted the elevator footage had strange timestamps, odd skips. Was it edited, covered up? And then came the supernatural theories. Some viewers claimed to see a shadow behind her. Others swore the video showed possession-like behavior. Was Elisa just another victim of untreated mental illness? Or was she claimed by something darker that dwells in the Cecil's walls? Years later, the questions remain. Some guests claim they see Elisa in the hotel, in mirrors, in shadows, elevator doors on the 14th floor that refuse to close, a voice that whispers, "Hide." The rooftop has since been sealed off tighter, but still, Thrill seekers come, hoping to feel her presence. Some do. The elevator footage is still online, still studied, still feared. And sometimes people report something strange when watching it. A reflection, not of Elisa, of themselves, moving when they don't, as if something is watching from inside the screen. What do you think happened to Elisa Lam? Drop your theory in the comments below. The Cecil Hotel didn't earn its reputation overnight. Long before Netflix documentaries and internet sleuths, the building at 640 South Main Street in downtown LA had already become infamous, a magnet for darkness. But in 1985, the shadows deepened, because that year, one of America's most sadistic serial killers called home. Richard Ramirez, later dubbed the Night Stalker, was a predator who roamed the streets of California, hunting strangers in their homes. His crimes were brutal: rape, torture, murder. His calling card? Satanic symbols, often scrawled at the scene. He was a ghost in the city, but every night, he returned to room 1402 of the Cecil Hotel. Cheap, anonymous, forgotten by the city. Exactly what he needed. Guests who stayed on the 14th floor during that summer recalled something strange. A stench that no one could explain, like copper and rot. One maid reportedly found clumps of dark hair in the sink. Another said the mirror was always fogged, even without heat, as if someone was breathing heavily on the glass from the inside. One night, a guest swore he heard scratching at the walls. Not rats, fingernails. Ramirez would reportedly return to the Cecil after a killing spree, sometimes with blood still on his clothes. He would strip naked, walk through the alley to the hotel's back entrance, and head upstairs. No one stopped him. He was just another shadow in a building full of ghosts. After Ramirez was arrested in August 1985, room 1402 was sealed for cleaning, but it never felt clean. Multiple guests who stayed there afterward complained of the same things. Cold air, even in summer. Nightmares so vivid, they woke up screaming. Whispers in a language no one recognized. A man from Ohio checked in and left within hours, claiming he saw a man with black eyes and no mouth sitting at the foot of the bed. Another, a woman traveling alone, disappeared for 2 days. When staff finally entered her room, they found her curled on the bed, whispering. He watches from the mirror. She had carved an upside-down cross into the wooden floor with her fingernails. Eventually, the hotel replaced the carpet, repainted the walls, but they never replaced a mirror. Staff avoided that room. So did guests, once they read about its history online. But thrill seekers came. Urban explorers, paranormal vloggers. Some reported EVP recordings, strange static that, when cleaned up, revealed a voice whispering, "I never left." One man swore he saw Ramirez's reflection in the mirror, not his face now, but then, in 1985, smiling. Others felt watched all night. Some left with scratch marks. The room was eventually closed again, quietly. No official notice. But employees say that sometimes, late at night, the elevator still stops at the 14th floor without being called. And down that hall, the door to room 1402 creaks like it's trying to open. Do you believe places can absorb evil? Share your thoughts below. There's a window on the west side of the Cecil Hotel, old, dusty, and always slightly ajar. Locals call it the suicide window. No one knows exactly why that window, but over the decades, more than a dozen people have jumped to their deaths from the Cecil's upper floors, and many of them from that very spot. It was October 1954 when a young woman named Helen Gurney checked into the Cecil under a fake name. She stayed in room 726. 3 days later, without warning, she opened the window and stepped off the ledge. Witnesses below said she didn't scream, just floated down like her body had given up long before her feet left the floor. When authorities found her, she was still clutching her purse. Inside a note, it read, "I am sorry. The voices won't stop." That was just the beginning. In 1962, Pauline Otten had an argument with her estranged husband in room 904. He stormed out. She stayed behind. Moments later, she jumped from the window. But this time, it wasn't just her life that ended. She landed on a pedestrian, George Giannini, who had been walking past the hotel. Both were killed instantly. People say the blood never fully left the awning. Employees began calling the 9th floor hallway the corridor of regret. It wasn't just the suicides. Guests reported hearing footsteps late at night, water dripping when no faucets were on, whispers through the air vents. One night in 1976, a desk clerk saw a man standing motionless by the window. The man stared out for nearly an hour. Then he turned and vanished. When security went to investigate, the room was empty, unoccupied for weeks. And yet, the carpet was wet. In 1992, a man from Phoenix came to LA with a plan to end his life at the Cecil Hotel. He checked into a room on the 10th floor, left no luggage, paid in cash. That night, he climbed onto the ledge, but something made him stop. He later told police, "I felt a hand on my shoulder, but when I turned around, no one was there. Then I heard a voice, 'Not tonight.'" He checked out the next morning and checked himself into a psych ward. He's alive today. Despite renovations, that window remains, sealed now, covered in paint. But late at night, hotel staff say it rattles. Sometimes they hear tapping on the glass from the inside. Tourists take photos of that side of the building. And occasionally, something shows up behind the glass. A figure in a blue dress, staring down, not moving, not blinking, just waiting. Have you ever felt a place pull you into its sadness? Tell us below. Room 1006 was never meant to be remembered. It was a simple single, beige wallpaper, creaky floors, and a flickering light above the sink. But one night in 1995 turned it into one of the Cecil Hotel's most whispered about secrets. She checked in late. No ID, no bags, paid cash, signed the guest book as Allison L. The desk clerk remembered her eyes, pale, unfocused, like she hadn't slept in days or weeks. She asked for a quiet room, far from the elevator. She got room 1006. That night, the switchboard lit up around 2:13 a.m. A call from room 1006. The operator picked up. Static, breathing. Then faintly, "He's here." The line went dead. Security was dispatched. They knocked. No answer. They unlocked the door and found the room empty, undisturbed. Bed untouched. Bathroom light on. But the mirror, someone had drawn an X across it, in lipstick. The next morning, the maid entered to clean. The room looked the same, except for one thing. The mirror had fogged, like someone had just taken a hot shower. And there, faintly written in the condensation, was a message. Still here. Allison L. never checked out. She never came back for her deposit. There was no record of her ID, no fingerprints, no missing person match. It was as if she had never existed. Since then, guests who stayed in room 1006 report strange things. The phone rings at 2:13 a.m. every night. Always static, always breathing. The mirror fogs up, even in cold weather. Whispers, always whispers, especially when you're brushing your teeth. One man posted a review online. I stayed one night, never again. The woman in the mirror smiled at me, but I wasn't smiling. The room has been repainted, refurbished, even renumbered, but the night staff still call it 1006. Because no matter how many layers of paint they use, the X still returns on the mirror. And sometimes, guests leave in the middle of the night, bags half-packed, faces pale. They always say the same thing. She whispered my name. Have you ever heard your name when no one else was there? Tell us in the comments below. There are places in the Cecil Hotel where even staff refuse to go. The old boiler room, the laundry tunnels, the maintenance hall behind the basement. It's not just because of rats, broken lights, or the smell of mold. It's because of the crying. In 1983, a maintenance worker named Julio said he heard a baby crying while repairing a pipe in the sub-basement. He followed the sound, but it kept shifting down one hall, around a corner, through a door that shouldn't have opened. When he finally reached the end, he found nothing, just an old doll, burned, missing an eye. He quit the next day. Years later, in 1991, construction crews began clearing storage rooms in preparation for renovations. Behind a false wall, they found old documents sealed in a metal box. Inside, a birth certificate for an unnamed male child, born in 1947. Mother, resident of the Cecil Hotel. Father, unknown. No death certificate was ever filed. Guests on the lowest floors began complaining. Who lets their kid cry at 3 a.m.? Sounds like someone's in pain. Management blamed pipes, bad acoustics. But once, a guest recorded the sound. It wasn't just a baby. It was a voice, repeating one word, Mama. In 2002, a housekeeper named Teresa volunteered to store old linens in the basement. She returned 10 minutes later, white as a sheet. There was a boy, she whispered, naked, dirty, just standing there, staring at me. Security reviewed the footage. Teresa was alone the entire time, except at 3 minutes and 12 seconds, when the screen went black for 6 seconds. When the image returned, a shadow stood behind her. There's a door in the basement with no knob, no hinges, no markings. Some say the child is behind it, still waiting, still crying. At night, staff swear they hear tiny footsteps, a giggle, a whisper of mama. One tourist left a teddy bear outside that door. The next morning, it was gone. In its place, the burned doll. Same one Julio saw. Same missing eye. Would you dare open that door? Let us know in the comments below. The Cecil Hotel stands not just as a relic of downtown decay, but as a monument to stories we still can't explain. Was it cursed? Was it coincidence? Or does the building itself feed on tragedy? As the years pass, one thing remains certain. The Cecil Hotel will always hold secrets, some buried beneath floors, others whispered through walls. Do you believe places can remember pain? Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you felt a chill down your spine, show your support. Like this video, share with fellow true horror fans, and subscribe to Tales Nameless for more terrifying true stories every week. Your support keeps the stories alive and the darkness illuminated